Welcome to Red Pill's production vlogs. So today is November 20th, and yesterday we found out that we got one of the Story Hive grants, which is kind of phenomenal. But we had done some meeting stuff, and we decided we're actually gonna go check out some studio spaces right now to get a good idea of what is available.
Yes.
And to do that, we're going to MTM.
I usually rent through them. I've rented a lot of equipment through them over the years, but I've never really had an opportunity to use the studio space because
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah. Particularly the big space. You know, I mean, it's not exorbitant, but it's not free either. And this is sort of the crazy thing. And this is the thing that I've got that I'm super excited about with this is that I've worked on a ton of my own stuff before, like my own ideas and whatnot. I've worked on a ton of projects and productions with budgets, but those have never been the same thing. You know, so this is the first time that I'm working on my own stuff with a budget, or like with a budget that is not like, hey, I've got $800 that I set aside, you know, let's make this go as far as possible. This is, you know, actually, yeah.
It's $10,000.
It's someone else's money.
Yeah. Well, it's our money.
It's our money now, but it's like, it's not, you know, it's not our own pocket.
Right.
We're being, it's a grant. I mean, it's a grant.
Yeah.
We've got a grant. We have grant money.
Which is
government mandated grant money from telecommunications industry. It's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
You know, and I appreciate. There's a lot of back and forth. Like we've been talking with people. There's a lot of back and forth about Story Hive and its value and its flaws, and it certainly has flaws. But what I appreciate is that it's not just the same process as every other grant out there. You know, and this is not a slam against those grants. It's just that it's nice that there's a little bit of variety in the application process, in the awarding process, and just in the way that you engage with the grants, because so many of them, it's, all right, fill out a bunch of paperwork, send it in, and if you did it right, maybe they contact you for more information. Generally, you only hear back to either get, you know, approval or refusal.
Right.
So having this different process, like even though it comes with its own flaws and its own, you know, it's different set of flaws, it's still a different set of flaws. It's still a different set of strengths as well. So, you know, yeah, because there is no perfect way of handing out money. You know, there is no perfect way of making sure that the best projects or the most rewarding or valuable projects are going to get it, because how do you even decide that? Like, is the project that is most likely to succeed the most valuable, or is the project that will give its cast and crew the most experience the most valuable? You know, value comes down so much to these individual goals and individual rewards that it's like, you know, there's kind of that question of like, well, what's the purpose of various grants? And so you really do need them to cover a lot of different types and styles in order to ensure that, you know, you're getting production money to people who need to experiment and learn, and you're also getting production money to people who are already skilled and talented but need chances to get their work actually made.
Right. Which is a very rare opportunity sometimes.
Yeah. You know, there's so much in the way that the industry is constructed that is very conservative, and I mean that in the sense that it doesn't take a lot of huge risks, and that's a big reason why sort of government money or government mandated money is so important, because there's not a lot of private investors who are willing to take those kinds of risks on unproven talent. So you end up in a situation where basically the people who have managed to get through the gate are the people who keep getting picked over and over and over again because they've proven themselves. So you need to be proven in order to get hired, but you need to get hired in order to get proven. So on and so forth. So programs like this that enable, more people to get their stuff out there, get proven, get it, have a crack at making something that, has a lot fewer restrictions on it. And the $10,000 is not a lot of money when it comes to production, particularly when you're going to be, when you want to be paying the people who you're hiring. $10,000 dries up very quickly, but it's enough. It's it's a really good amount because it won't let you do everything, but it will let you do something that you otherwise probably could not pull off on your own.
Right. Which is why this experience is pretty new.
Yeah, because this is exactly the sort of thing. Hiring out studio space is not the kind of thing that I would normally be able to justify. I just wouldn't have the money for it.
Right. And the reality is, specifically in Canada as well, that's more common than not.
Which part of it is more common than not?
Well, the idea that private investing is...
Oh, yeah. In Canada as well, just because the industry is smaller. There's the largest Canadian productions are like $5 million, and $5 million is Gem into the Holograms in the States.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of this cheap mid-weight, not even we wouldn't even consider it a blockbuster. It's just a cheap mid-weight kind of filler that they push out. But that in Canada, a $5 million budget is a huge freaking deal. I think Passchendaele is $13 million.
Yeah,
and it's one of the biggest Canadian productions ever made.
Yeah.
And $13 million is the catering budget on Transformers.
Basically. So what did we learn?
All right, so we had our meeting, had our little meeting at MTM, and the space is perfect. It's big enough. They've got all of the support stuff that we need, but they're also super busy. So we're going to send them an email, and hopefully, they can squeeze us in 2 days right after New Year's, which is a little further out than I was hoping to shoot, but it's still not too far. It gives us a nice, relaxed sort of pre-production time, and still more than enough time for post-production. But there's a chance that they might have 0 days available until February, which will not do, which would not work. So we also need to start thinking about contingencies in terms of space and locations. So looking for things like an airplane hangar, or a warehouse, or an arena, or something of sort of comparable size. Otherwise, we might need to get kind of really radical with this and maybe look into a space that is not as big, but is, maybe something that's just really long. like a space that's just really long rather than one that's also tall and wide. You know, and so that's kind of the thought process right now. And no, it was good, but really hoping they've got space. Unfortunately, I couldn't get, even though I talked to them earlier, I couldn't book anything earlier because I didn't, you know.
No, well, this is day one.
This is day one,
Right. So we did this right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and this is why planning is so important, and getting on the ball ASAP is important, and leaving yourself time to problem solve.
Oh man, like if we had waited a week on this and been like, we'll go talk to MTM, like we'll go talk to them in a week or two, like closer to it's like no, get that done like right away. That's a big ticket thing. That's one that you got to get nailed down. So I'm very glad that we made this trip and learned that information, and I'm really hoping that it works out. I'm really hoping that they've got those, that they can do those 2 days for us, because they're here in town, they're accessible, they've got all of the gear kind of right there, so you can even do like rentals kind of a la carte if you're in the middle of the day and it's like, crap, we need a Joker. Just walk right next door and rent a Joker. So
That's a light, by the way.
it's a type of light, yeah. So it's good in that regard, and they've got the dolly and they've got the track there, and that's that's one of the big things, like only needing to move dolly and track next door as opposed to needing to like transport it somewhere. That's huge, because it's big, it's unwieldy, it's heavy. Yeah, you know, the transportation logistics of moving dolly and track, like that alone, like we already have to worry about the transportation logistics of the set. If we had to add a giant pile of gear on top of that, it's gonna get rough.
Yeah.
But no,
Fingers
fingers
are crossed.
crossed.
Fingers
It's
crossed.
a little hard with the gloves on.
Yeah. Canadian problems.